Welcome to Tom Papa's Come to Papa.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Come to Papa, your favorite podcast among all the other podcasts. Coming in on a Wednesday, coming in hot, crazy, keeping the listeners on their toes. They don't know when we're coming at them. It could be a Tuesday. It could be a Wednesday. It could be Thursday. We don't know because we are all over the place. I had to flee the city of Angels and come East Coast because we had a death in the family that we needed to memorialize. So I had to run out of town. It's all good. It's all fine. But Paul and I are not together again. Another casualty caused by life's hard edges. But how are you, Paul? You doing well?
I'm all right, Tom. Didn't you just flee the volcanic surface of Hawaii, and now you just left Los Angeles, which is almost on fire now too?
Are there more fires today?
No, it's just very hot, Tom. That's why.
How hot is it? Are we going through a heat wave?
Hot enough that I was just prescribed vitamin D because I'm not getting enough sun. That was the diagnosis from my doctor, and I think I can stop taking it now because I'm getting sunlight even at night in LA.
Here is something. I was prescribed vitamin D by my doctor, and apparently all people are getting prescribed vitamin D by their doctors because it's the sunshine drug, as they call it. It helps it's a lack of sunlight. And when you take vitamin D, it improves functions of your body. It also improves mood and outlook and things like that. What I saw, and this is going to be a very unscientific evaluation of this diagnosis, because it was only a headline and maybe one line that I read in the newspaper, that it turns out the big advocate for vitamin D who swayed public opinion and got all these doctors to prescribe it is actually paid by vitamin D manufacturers. Was paid hundreds of thousands of dollars by the supplement company that provides most of the vitamin D. So, once again, it might be one of those things that everybody jumps on that we don't really need.
Right. Yeah, I am. Well, here's the thing, though. I got it prescribed, so I don't know how much you were taking, but basically, it's the largest dose of anything I've ever seen. So I only have to take it. I take it once a week, and it's 50,000 milligrams or something.
Oh, my God. Do you feel any different?
Yeah, I can fly, actually. It's pretty
Wow.
Cool. Yeah.
That's amazing. So maybe
I can see through some buildings. It's been good so far, I think. So I might double up on it.
Holy cow. Who knows what to think? You know, it always comes down to whether or not you're eating well. If you have a good diet, all this stuff is taken care of. But, of course, we never have a good diet. I've been eating like crap on this trip. And I've been running into restaurant after restaurant. It's such a weird thing. I'm basically in my hometown, but staying in a hotel because my parents sold my boyhood home out from under me. And so now I've got to stay in this hotel where I literally was a busboy when I was a little kid. Wow. And where my wife was working in a cocktail lounge. And we're having all of this rush of memories, of course, when we're back here, much like your hometown where you just were, which we have to talk a lot about your ice cream. But when you're in a place like this, you're not in my boyhood home, so I'm not getting home-cooked meals. I'm eating out every single meal. And it's different than when you're on the road as a comedian, because when you're on the road as a comedian, you skip a lot of meals. You don't go and sit down. When you're with family and doing this kind of stuff, you sit down in a restaurant, order meals, drink wine, do the whole kit and caboodle every damn meal. And I am ready to pop.
Yeah,
right? When you're a comic, we just skip. You grab a protein bar. You just eat, a little something later, or you grab something on the way. This is like, not only is it exhausting from all of the social aspect of it, and put in that it's a memorial kind of weight to it also, but just the nonstop food. I can't take it anymore. So
everything's an event. Everybody's got food for something. Everyone wants dessert. Everybody.
Yes, and everybody, because we're not here that often now. We just went through the whole wife side of the family for 4 days, and now my family catches wind that we're here, and now we have to do another gigantic meal with all of them tonight. And I'm like, I can't eat anymore. I have to leave just to stop eating. Yeah,
that's the key, is if you still have shows or something, you can kind of take off a little bit early. I ended up going to like a wedding that I didn't even know I was going to. So
oh my God.
So like once you're home like that, everyone's like, "Oh yeah, this is going on, and this is going on, and this is going on." And
I saw a high school friend. I saw a high school friend last night. We were drinking at this bar that we used to drink at, like right out of college, and I left her. I had made a plan to go to the Jersey Shore with her at like 7:00 the next morning. I was like, all right, this isn't happening. We're getting too excited. I mean, it's great. I love all of it. But back to the original reason I brought it up is because you're supposed to have a good diet, and then you wouldn't have to take vitamin D supplement. The problem is when you're eating out like this all the time, even when you think you're eating well, you're eating like garbage. I'll have just the fish and the salad, covered in oil, covered in butter, covered in salt. It's a good prescription for a heart attack.
Yeah, I am. Oh, hey, I was gonna tell you real quick. I had the battery just went down to 1 bar. So can we switch out real quick? Because I had it on and it was full, and then now I'm looking, it's down to like 1 bar. So it must have.
Let's just keep going, and when it quits, we'll do it. Okay. Just keep an eye on when it craps out, so we know exactly when. Okay. Is that all right?
Yeah. Whatever you want to do. I just have the other batteries right here too. So.
All right. It's speaking of horrible diets. You've been spending your time in your hometown, where you have been the hero of your hometown because of your ice cream flavor. Pale Dream. I've seen it on social media. It's ice cream with vanilla and vodka, and that can't be good for you.
Well, it's creamsicle, so it's like that orange creamsicle that you used to get when you were a kid.
Ooh, I love that.
But it's got vodka in it, which I think is everything that you need in life.
It sounds amazing. It definitely sounds great. No vitamin D.
Yeah, and apparently it's a big hit. The biggest problem is you got to bring your ID, Tom, which is always a big deal in a small town, because the kids always want to get booze, and then the parents don't ever want to show their ID. My mom had to go back home and get her ID to get my ice cream.
Oh, my God.
They're sticklers, but yeah, it's really good. I didn't have it until I think the day that I left. I went over there, but I think my parents had it a few times. But I've gotten good feedback so far, and Mike and Diane, the people that own the ice cream place, they were fighting another. The town got flooded twice in the last 10 years, like really bad, like biblical. And they were almost fighting another flood while I was there. He was like,
oh my God,
bailing out his basement. So that kind of gave you a little insight, like, because they started this store themselves, and they, built it from the ground up and all that kind of stuff, but also it reminds you, like, oh, yeah, you've got to do everything. Like, it's kind of like owning a house. Like, oh, yeah, all of this is yours now. So if anything goes wrong, you're stuck.
I know. I always keep that in mind for when we open our bakery.
Right.
And it's not like you can open the bakery and then continue the rest of your life. It's like everything has to go into it. You've got those people that run these places, which, by the way, Baked opening Labor Day coming up, just a week and a half away. Baked will be on the air. It's very exciting. And what you'll see when you meet all these great people that run these great bake shops and restaurants that I visit, it is their life. It is, you are all in 24 hours a day. There's no getting around it. There's just hard work. And doesn't mean you can't be successful, but you're not going to be successful as the owner if you're not involved and around all the time.
Right.
It's just the way that it goes. It's like everything in life, I guess, but it's a little more difficult business than most.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Food service.
There's no there's one of my neighbors, she was a lot younger than me, but she grew up across the street from me. She moved to San Francisco, and I think they came to a show, but her husband's like a really good chef, and they came back to my hometown and opened a restaurant. And it's like a really kind of like, hip restaurant in my little town, and they've never taken a vacation. We ate there,
wow.
And they were just exhausted, but they were happy. Like they're happy that they're busy and people like it, but it's like, yeah, they never. I think they were just saying like that it was like the first time they let somebody else close the shop. So
wow.
basically, 7 days a week.
It's a great thing. I mean, it's got to feel great that when people really love your place and are coming in, and it is like your second home, and it is. It is a lot of hard work, but I could see it being very fulfilling. I could see it really paying off and just enjoying the work. If you don't really, really love it, that's the one thing. If you don't really, like, there are people that work for these people that I've visited, and, they don't own it. They just work there, and they kind of like it. Those people, then it's really, really rough.
Yeah, that's
so
bad.
Pale Dream,
That's
a big
bad
hit, a big summertime hit.
Yeah, it was cool to see, and it's also, like you said, like when somebody takes over a dream like that's what everyone was saying is like, those are the two best occupations in the world, are comedian and ice cream store owner.
Yeah. There's a guy, my old football coach here in this town that I'm in right now, in Woodcliff Lake in Montvale, New Jersey. This guy, his only job was owning a Dairy Queen.
Oh, yeah?
It's cool because it's like an open parking lot. The shop is the only thing there. It looks like it's from the 50s. It doesn't look like a like a strip mall kind of version. And it's just been there forever, the same old sign, only 2 windows, and it's the real key is it's on this great corner, and you can just pull your car up and like kind of park anywhere and wander in and have this ice cream. This guy, that's his only gig, and he's, has a big house, is able to take time off and coach football at a high school level. This guy killed it just from owning this little tiny ice cream shop. And that's year round, though. They keep, even in the winter, that place is still open. But it's not the most difficult business to run, I would imagine. You got your blizzards, you got your cones. After that, what do you got to worry about?
Right. Yeah, it's funny. Well, that's the good thing about being in upstate New York is you close the ice cream place from, October to April. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
at least you can do some stuff. So my buddy, I was saying, so what do you do with the time off? He's like, no, I'll just be renovating the place the whole time because of the flood and stuff. But
God.
But yeah, his wife is a therapist, and like I told you, that's that's the building where I took tap dancing lessons. So, and I told that story on. I think I need the ice cream and the therapy from the tap dancing lessons.
It's amazing. Like, I was with my friend last night who still lives in this town, and for her, it's kind of, it's a beautiful place. It's a nice town. I could see not leaving. If things had gone slightly different for me, I could have stuck around, but I didn't. I split right at college, and then pretty much never came back. I would come visit. When you leave and come back, the only thing your intense memories stop in high school. So the whole time I'm running around this place, and it probably is the same for you when you go home, it's all of those memories from childhood up until when you left that just keep popping off in your head. And, I did that here and I did that there. I'm like boring my children with, that's where I went to high school, and that's where me and my friend used to swim in the lake, and this is where, and it's like, it's almost too intense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, it's kind of overwhelming.
Right. Yeah, it's, because I kept coming back a lot, like when I still lived in New York City, but just in the last 6 or 7 years, I've hardly gone back at all, and now that my parents sold the house and live in Florida, now I get like a real perspective, being there.
Right.
We drove by our house that, we haven't, my parents haven't been, like the childhood home we had, they just sold like a year or so ago. So, even they were, wanting to see it, and, but it was funny that you said the thing about the hotel, because we did the exact same thing. Like, it's a different name now, but, we had one hotel in town, and it was it had the indoor pool that everyone snuck into during the wintertime, and it's still, and the pool is still there.
I know, and then you come back, and you're staying in that hotel now as a grown-up. It's just so bizarre. It's like if you lived here, you're still your life all the way through is filled with memory. So it's like you said, there's no perspective. It's when you cut it off, leave, and come back, you see it through this other lens, and it's almost too much. It's almost like too exhausting. You just can't stop analyzing it and seeing it for what it was. And I mean, it's not heavy by any means. It's filled with very pleasant, happy memories, but it's like you can't turn it off. I went for a run just around the neighborhood yesterday just because I've been eating like a pig. I decided to go for a run. Just the smells of the trees and the grass and the way the sunlight looks. I mean, it just doesn't stop. It's like, I got to get out of here. I'm exhausted just from experiencing my past.
Yeah. That, like you said about my town, even when we're on the road, you're always like, how big is your town? Because we always run into somebody, or somebody always says, hey, where are you from upstate? And it ends up being the same place. That's what it's like when you're actually in the town. We check in the hotel, and the head maintenance guy's the dad of a guy I played basketball with, and it's everybody, and everything that you do, leads into, like you were saying about food. It was like, holy cow, you go out to this restaurant, and then, hey, what's his name's son is playing in this band next door. We end up, because I did a couple shows at the local theater, which was a blast. And so my buddy that I graduated with, his two kids are both in 8th grade and 10th grade. Mm-hmm. And they have all these kids running which, by the way, we should talk about this, because, all these great theaters that we get to go to, it's like adults having these jobs. We did this theater. It was all teenagers running the lights, the sound, everything, and everything was perfect.
Yeah,
I had a kid. Tough. Yeah, I had an 8th grader introduce me, Jack or Gordon, and then Jack, his brother, was running the spotlight, and it was almost like a sitcom, because I could go from Gordon to Jack, and then the other kid that was in the sound booth. We created a whole cast of characters just through being there. And at the end of the show, a few of the people are like, "Oh, is what's his name mad at you?" I was like, "No, he was part of the show. He loved it." So yeah, it was really
it's great, and it also, you also start playing the game of what if I had stuck around here? What if I was like working with those kids? What if I was, who would I have been? All that kind of stuff. It's too much. That's why I'm drinking so much. I got to get out of here, Paul. I got to go home.
Yeah, that was the thing I told you, like, because my parents were like, you shouldn't do this again because it's so exhausting for you. Like, they said that because they,
right.
Yeah. I was staying at the hotel with them for a few days, and every morning I was going in to do like morning radio, and then I did like a TV interview at the place that I interned, the old station. And so, yeah, like you said, every place you go, there's these memories, and it just never stops. Yeah.
I mean, it's really, it truly is great. Like, I love all these people. I love seeing everybody. It really is a lot of fun. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. I should come back more often, and maybe it wouldn't freak me out as much. But right now, I'm weary.
Well,
I want to open a Dairy Queen, though. I think you and I should look into a franchise and open up the Dairy Queen.
I've definitely got more business minded. Like, I have a couple ideas, not only just for food. I do have food ideas, but also merchandising stuff just from being around and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, we definitely have to get into the food. Yeah, you're going to have a Food Network show. You have to have Tom's Bakery at the airport that everyone can just grab a croissant or grab a sourdough on the way.
I know. I can't wait. Maybe it's too much to think about. Hey, yeah.
Oh, good. I was going to ask you, I forget if you did a bit about this, but one annoying thing about doing shows in your hometown or being around is people will tell you when they're not going to do something. I don't know if this bothers you. So basically, you'll just get messages. You'll never hear from these people. You won't invite them personally, but they'll just feel the need to say, "Hey, by the way, I'm doing this great thing, so I'm not going to be able to come to the show." Which it doesn't seem like a bad thing until you get like 15 of those, and then at the end of getting 15, I'm like, okay, no one needs to tell me they're not coming to the show. Like, if we get a message from everyone who's not coming, it just is going to make me feel terrible. I'm more excited about the people. If you're coming to the show, let me know, and we can celebrate together, and I'll say hello to you. But you telling me that you're not coming to the show does nothing to my schedule or confidence level.
Well, this is the reason that people like don't perform in where they live, or like even like in LA or in New York. It's like there's just that whole you become a publicist for your friends and family. Like
right,
you end
right.
up having to do all of that other scheduling, which is a whole nother level, which you have to do once in a while because it's fun for all of them, but you have an extra job. I had a great gig this week. Last minute, I think I told you I was going up to Yosemite National Park, right on the outskirts of it, to the Black Oak Casino to perform with Smokey Robinson.
Oh, no way. I've performed there before.
Oh, you have?
Yeah,
Well, the casino has been there, but this outdoor arena thing is new this year.
But, dude, that's in the middle of nowhere, right?
Yeah. It's like on the outskirts of Yosemite. It was about 6.5 hours to get there from L.A.
Yeah, that's a hike, man. I would have told you that's probably the worst place to take your Tesla. At least, like, if you're going straight up the 5. But that's tough just to drive to regularly. Like,
I was a little nervous, I have to say, but I was like, you know what? And I also didn't have the new GPS software that tells you exactly where the superchargers are and stuff. So I was having to like kind of do the math off the website. I was a little worried if I was going to make it. And then when I got to the hotel, I had to make sure they had the right charger so I could get the electric cars zapped up and be able to get me home again. And I also had to go up there, perform a Smokey. The money was just good enough, and the opportunity to drive up to that park, to the outskirts of that park, which is one of my favorite places in the world, and to perform with this legend, that combination was like, all right, I got to go, even though I've got to drive 5-6 hours up, 5-6 hours back, and that same day get on a plane to come here for the memorial. So it was like, it was definitely a push. But I got a supercharger in Tejon Ranch, and then one up in the outskirts of Fresno, and then that took me to the place, and I was able to charge up and return home stress-free. Didn't have to like go 50 miles an hour. I could open it up on the backcountry roads. It was a Tesla futuristic marvel. It really was very cool.
Yeah, that's great. That's it, but it's also coming full circle because, you know, you've been talking a lot of trash about Fresno lately, and then you end up having to drive through it. So hopefully that grounded you a little bit.
Well, I wasn't in the heart of Fresno. I was on the outskirts, so I can't. I'm give them credit.
I'm sure that you were, Tom. You just didn't know it. You went right through the heart of it.
Yeah. It was pretty cool. Smokey Robinson, 78 years old, still killing it.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
That guy was the coolest. And, you know, I'd worked with him once before. We did some charity thing together. And so I wanted to say hello to him. And just, you know, you're up there. You want to see Smokey. I went up. I did my set. Very funny. The opening, I open the show, and I do 45 minutes, which is long for an opening. You know, usually it's 20 or something. I'm like, why is it 45 minutes? 7 o'clock, go up for 45 minutes. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. What time is sundown in this outdoor arena? 7:49. I was like, so they're using me to get through the sunset. and then Smokey comes out in the lights and and does his thing. So I do 45. I come off. It goes well. The crowd's very nice. The sun went down while I was on stage. It was fun. You know, even after that long drive, I felt pretty fresh.
You should
felt pretty fresh. Felt pretty good. And then Smokey does this rock star move, and I couldn't say hello to him because they have the dressing rooms are in trailers. Because we're in this, you know, outdoor thing.
Right.
And he comes down the steps and goes right into this giant black SUV. They open the door. Wow. He goes in the SUV. The SUV drives maybe 30 feet to the stage. And they open it up, and he steps out with his red boots and his red jumpsuit. And I'm like, that is Rockstar. He didn't want to walk on the gravel parking lot. So he hired an SUV to take him 30 feet from his dressing room to the stage. I didn't get to see him, so I was a little disappointed, but I really respected the move.
Yeah, that's great. Did you mention the thing about the sundown? Because I was going to say they're probably the Smokey Robinson diehards are probably a little less. You know, they don't have as much animosity as most people would. Because my thing is like, I've got to waste time until the person they want to see gets up here. So I have to like do something. You know what I mean? Like, I've gotten my ego to a place when I'm in those situations where I'm thinking, how lucky are they that they get to see this extra performance they didn't know was happening? Right.
And I walk out like, you lucky bastards.
Yeah.
It was it's the only way you can kind of mentally wrap yourself around it. Once you think like, oh, they don't want me, you're toast.
Right.
You got to act like I'm Smokey's good pal, and we're gonna have a great time.
Smokey and Tom.
It was pretty ironic that they just put out the fires up there, and then a man named Smokey comes in to perform.
Right. I always wonder if he's so old that they named the bear after him.
Maybe. He's still so cool. I mean, the way he moves, the songs are so classic. I mean, it's just the power of a song being that good is just, I mean, you can't.
How big of a band does he have, or is it just mostly him?
It's a pretty big band. You know, pretty typical of that kind of a show. You know, keyboard and bass and drums, guitar, maybe 3-4 backup singers, a guy on the horn, on the sax, who was warming up in the dressing room while I was sitting there eating my carrot sticks. It was cool. It was definitely very cool. But then I just got up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I figured I'm just going to knock out these 5-6 hours and just get out of here. So right. I was actually toying around with just leaving after the show, and one of the guys I met up there who does that trip a lot, he's like, it always seems like a good idea, and then you get to Bakersfield and you just hate yourself.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, that's wise. I'll just get some sleep. And then I cruised out, and it was really pretty stellar. As the sun was rising at around 6 o'clock, 6:15, I'd already been on the road for about an hour, and I'm going through this beautifully paved, rolling hills, going through these trees and these like almost look like wheat fields with these trees like skimming off of Tuolumne, which is like right off of Yosemite by like 30 miles. And it was just, I'm the only car on the road. The sun is just spectacular. It looks great. I had this great music playing as I'm cruising along. And it was like, just that was worth the whole trip. Like that hour of driving in this silent vehicle in this pristine countryside was like, this is great.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really worth it. And then you're sitting in Fresno at the supercharger, just passed out. Get me some more electricity and get me home, damn it.
Yeah, that's great, man. Because whenever I go up there, I'm like, this place is in the middle of nowhere, but you see it as like, oh, this is in this great, beautiful place. It's funny how your perspective is if you grow up in the country like that. I'm like, we're in the middle, we're in the sticks.
Yeah, no, that's the place where Yosemite was the first national park that I went and hiked out of while I was in college with my good buddy Mike, and we didn't even have equipment. We were like carrying food in grocery bags, and just had like this makeshift tent, and that was the first time I spent any time like over a week just hiking around through that park in Tuolumne, which is the upper grounds of it. We hiked up to that, and I just, when I get anywhere near that place, I get electrified.
Yeah,
and I met somebody. I met a woman who was working on the crew, whose father or father-in-law is like 74 or something, and every year he goes back there and hikes like that. And I was like, that's a pretty great move, like to do it every year, to make your sojourn back to this place like a salmon coming back home. I was like, that's a great move. I really should try and incorporate that kind of a thing into my life. That would be maybe not a week,
right?
But to just go and take like 5 days of hiking and camping throughout that, you would be a richer soul.
Well, that's a true like Native American like land, isn't it? Like
yeah.
Because
the
most
casino,
casinos, they just build them, but this was like, it's almost sad that they're letting all these people drive through this land because it is really beautiful. So it's kind of neat. I think when I was working up there, I don't know if they had a hotel yet. Did you stay at the casino or? Yeah,
I stayed at the casino. It's this little place, not that many rooms. It's
okay,
but pretty cool. Yeah, it was. If you can't camp and hike, stay in a hotel and have a nice drive. It was pretty close to being good. So I have my final meal tonight, and then I head off to Michigan, and I'll perform there, and then you and I will be back in the studio on Tuesday.
Oh, shoot. You're not getting back till Tuesday?
No, I'll be back on Sunday.
Oh, we might have to do Monday. I figured out that I leave for Asia at 1 a.m., like early Tuesday, like Monday night, basically.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you're a world traveler now. Okay, so we'll do Monday.
We definitely got to do Monday at some point.
All right.
I don't leave until real late, so it can be any time, but I was hoping you're going to be back.
All right. Well, yeah, I'll be in Sunday. We'll definitely do Monday then. Well,
I was going to tell you, I just missed your idol real quick. While I was in town, of course, the PGA used to be the PGA tournament was there. We did talk a lot about golf. I almost went golfing while I was there as we had our conversation. So Tom Papa's idol, guru, health choice advisor, John Daly was in town.
Wow.
And
amazing man. That guy, you know what that guy doesn't do? That guy doesn't complain about what he ate on a podcast. You would never hear him talk about vitamin D and I can't eat one more meal. I take back everything I said at the beginning of this podcast.
You know what he also doesn't do? He also doesn't show up on the fourth day when he's already down by 15 strokes. So he withdrew the day that we were thinking about going to check him out. But
that's funny.
But he was the big story because he goes there. It's now called the Dick's Open, and they asked him why he comes there because, of course, they want him to say how much he loves the area, and he's like, "Oh, because I love shopping at Dick's." That was his answer.
That's great. I was in this town. Ridgewood Country Club is a famous golf course, and all the pros are here for some tournament. And the town was all abuzz because Tiger Woods was eating in one of the restaurants last night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, everybody was all flutter. And I was like, I'm the celebrity in town tonight.
Yeah.
And Tiger Woods stole my thunder. All right, buddy. I'm going to roll. I'm going to go see another side of the family. I'm going to break bread with more people. And
be safe.
Wrap up this great Memorial Week.
My condolences. I'll see you. I fly into Portland, but I'm going to the Oregon coast, which I've never been to before. Lincoln City.
Ooh. That sounds great.
I guess where they filmed the Goonies. You know how it's still like the beach? But I guess it's going to be pretty nice while I'm there. So I'm at like the Chinook Winds Casino doing another casino thing.
It's going to be beautiful.
Friday and Saturday, and then we'll be back Monday before I get lost in Asia.
All right, that sounds great. All right, buddy, have a great time. Everybody out there, this is it. You can feel the air starting to change ever so slightly. The sun is going down a little earlier. You can feel a little bit of autumn just starting to cheat in on the summer. Even when it's hot, it just doesn't have the sting that it did in the middle of the year, which means summer's coming to a close. So get some damn tomatoes and corn and enjoy your life.